Hi, it's Harrison Klein, and I am here with a very special guest today. I'm going to give you guys a treat that, very few people get a chance to connect solely with. This is my friend, Eric Pearl. He's a New York Times best-selling author. He has been on Dr. Oz. He's been on CNN. He's helped millions of people across the globe go through healings in an alternative way that is especially appropriate for our Psychic Expo like we're doing right now. And we're going to talk to him about how things work. We're going to talk to him about what he does. And we're going to talk to him about, the new techniques and the new experiences of healing at this point that have not been, accepted in the Western world, but are now coming much more into mainstream. So welcome, Dr. Eric Pearl. Hey, buddy.
Hey, Harrison. Thank you for having me.
It's great to have you. I'm so pleased that you accepted our invitation to come. And it's going to be a great time for everybody to get a chance to know you and to get your take on how all this healing works, and also to maybe even get some demonstrations, get some ideas about the cases you've helped, or the especially interesting ones. They're probably all interesting, but the most interesting ones that have made dramatic differences. So tell me about reconnection healing. You're a New York Times bestseller there. Take me into how this all started and what began the process.
The book is called The Reconnection, Heal Others, Heal Yourself. And we refer to this as reconnective healing. And actually, we've sort of been evolving the name reconnective healing into the reconnective healing experience, because as we experience this, we find it to be a far more accurate term. I was a chiropractor for 20 years, but somewhere in my 12th year of practice, a few strange things happened. I was awakened in the middle of the night by a lamp next to my bed, which decided to turn itself on. My bedroom door, which was closed when I was asleep, was open. I felt as if someone was in my house. So a little not comfortable with the concept, I reached for the largest knife I could find, my Doberman Pinscher, and an empty can of pepper spray, and walked through the house looking to see who had come in, who was opening and closing doors and turning off and on lights, and no one was there. And I finally decided it was my imagination. So even though it didn't feel like that, so I went back to sleep. But on that Monday, I went into my office and my employees started asking me what happened to me over the weekend, why I looked so different, why I sounded so different. I had no idea what they were talking about. I went in to work with my first patient, and after finishing with my chiropractic patient on his back and saying, "Close your eyes for a moment," when he opened his eyes, he asked me who had walked into the room while he was lying there with his eyes closed. I said, "No one." "Why?" He said, "Well, I mean, the person who came in the door." I said, "No one came in." He said, "I heard them." I said, "No one was there." He said, "I felt them. I sensed them." I said, "No one was there." So he finally said, okay. I could tell he didn't believe me, but I figured he was just, having his little experience. Second patient I went in to work with, when she opened her eyes, she said, "Who came into the room while I was lying here?" I said, "No one." "Why?" She said, "The person who came in." I said, "No one." "The person who stood at the door." I said, "No one." She said, "I heard them. I felt them." I said, "No one." Well, no one had said this to me before in my 12 years of practice, and suddenly 7 people insist that someone was in the room with us. You would think this would have gotten my attention. But the other thing that was getting my attention even more so was that I was feeling sensations in my hands. When I took my hands off my patients, I started to explore the sensations that I was feeling, paying attention to them, and I saw their bodies start to go into involuntary motions and movements that they couldn't really control. When they opened their eyes, they told me they were seeing colors they hadn't seen before, smelling flowers they hadn't smelled before, and reporting healings. People who came in wheelchairs, some of them, not all of them, were walking out without the chairs. Kids with cerebral palsy or epilepsy were walking and running and playing, not having seizures, not needing their meds. Now, this story is out in a lot of detail on the internet, so I'm not going to go into much of it, but this was the beginning of how I began to recognize something. But the way I recognized it maybe requires a little further examination. Because the way I recognized it was, I felt a sensation in my hand. I could move my hands. The sensation seemed to follow me. It was as if there was a portal that opened somewhere, and in came these, what I would refer to as frequencies. And for many reasons, I refer to them as frequencies of energy, light, and information, because that's the way they felt. And the researchers who came to study this said, you're accessing new aspects of light and information we've not seen here before. And my patients were losing consciousness and speaking words. And they were saying, we're here to tell you to continue doing what you are doing. What you are doing is bringing light and information onto the planet. What you're doing is reconnecting strings. What you're doing is reconnecting strands. I mean, it was a long story. There were 6 phrases. Those are the first 4. Over 50 different patients lost consciousness and started to speak these words. The first day it was 1 patient. The second day it was 3. A few days later it was 5. And for 6 months, this went on. So between them saying light and information, the researchers finding new aspects of light and information, something was clearly up. But my perspective was a bit linear. What I was viewing, what I was seeing, was the aspect of we were existing in everything here as energy, light, and information in this 4-dimensional bubble of existence, and something entered it. There wasn't really a thing that entered. What happens is everything, the energy, light, and information is. It's not a thing. It just is. It's what we could think of as the before, beyond. We look to move beyond. How can we take this further? How can we go beyond? What's next? What's next? What's next? And we're looking in a funny direction. You see, the before beyond comes pre everything. The energy, light, and information comes pre the reconnective healing, ultimately the reconnective healing experience. Because the energy, light, and information being an is the infinite. Call it God, call it love, call it the intelligence of the universe. It doesn't care if you call it Helen. And then what happens is we interpret it. We experience aspects of it. It is the infinite. And every experience that we have, really, by virtue of being an experience, is finite. Experiencing life as a man, a woman, a child, it's all finite experiences of the infinite. And so what happened was I found a way to dissolve. Somehow the otherness, the separation, was dissolving. I viewed this as an other that came into this space. The truth is, we are infinite in our existence. So what happened was this allowed me to access and to begin to recognize me as infinity, all of us as infinity. Energy, light, information, God, love, and the universe is experiencing itself as us. And the funny thing is as we receive this and allow this, these healings become received, not sent. This is a difficult concept. We're used to energy healing techniques. There's no technique in the reconnective healing experience. There is no technique. Technique confines, limits. These frequencies go here, these go here. 63 kinds of Reiki, 47 kinds of Qigong. This new technique that every technique becomes a focus, reduces something to a modality. What reconnective healing, this experience does, it actually connects or reconnects the entirety of healing. It dissolves those little membranes that separate our different techniques. It's sort of like, I compare it to religion in a sense. There's spirituality, which just is. And there's religion, what man does to spirituality. He gives it rules and guidelines and borders, containers. So it's as if each religion maybe is a window. So you're sitting in this huge, beautiful home or building. You look out one window. Through this religion, we see this, a church. Through another, we see a different kind of a church, or a synagogue, or a mosque, or trees, or mountains. But when we see a second window, we decide one must be wrong. And we become a little shaken, a little frightened. Has our family been looking generations outside of this wrong window, the religion, or we have to make the other window wrong, and we fight, and we argue, and we murder. But then maybe we peek out of another window, and we see a different picture, and we begin to recognize that it's not something different. It's an expansion. And we look out of another window, and we see more. But even if we look out of every window, we'll never see the whole picture, because each window is limited by the window frame. And the view is further limited by the wall supporting the frame. So the only way we're really going to be able to have a chance to see the whole picture is if we walk outside, maybe go up on the roof, hold hands, have a party, and we can see everything. When we try to bring our window back into the picture, we reduce the picture. Reconnective healing in the field of healing disappears the window frames and the limitations. So we're able to suddenly access all of healing, because the technique aspect of the healing is gone. It's disappeared. So those windows of technique disappear. The training wheels of technique disappear. And suddenly, the entirety of the field of healing, the infinite healing, is accessed. All the gifts and all the techniques, whether you've learned them or not, better we haven't even bothered, come through. And this knows where to go and what to do. It no longer is dependent on us as healing facilitators to move it over the heart, to bring it down to the toe, to turn a chakra in one direction or another direction, to figure what should go up, down, east, west, north, south, from the heavens, from the earth. And this disappears all illusion of separation. And when the illusion of separation is gone, fear is gone. It disappears the otherness. And when that fear is gone, because we recognize we're all one, gone is the desire for protections. Because when we're all one, we realize there's nothing to protect ourselves from. When we send healings, we send from point A to point B, from one person to another person. The very concept of sending brings about separation and fear. But in receiving from everyone and everything simultaneously, we can only exist in a state of love. Healing does not exist in fear. Healing exists in love, and we can't give a gift we're unwilling to accept or receive.
When all things are simultaneous, then there is no separation, because it's only right here, right now. There's nothing else. So the is nothing else. It's all and nothing simultaneously.
I allow myself to tune in to the vibration. It's a sensation. For me, I like the kinesthetic sensation of it. The vibration, the energy, light, and information exists first. It's not that we bring it in. It's not that it turns on. It always is. It's our awareness of it. And so, our cognitive awareness of it. And then I allow myself to be in it, to receive it, to play with it.
And that is what we might call flow. Is that correct? Would you call that flow?
I would, most definitely.
Yeah, so the flow, and that is the most prized thing that a human being can kind of experience, is the flow, because that gives them the ability to have all this ecstasy, all this, feeling good, and then that feeling good heals everything that's inside their body anyway. Because the better you feel, the better everything just waves across you in correct. I won't say correct. We'll just say in in just tones of beauty and tones of ecstasy and tones of all kinds of things. And you understand yourself as the energy, and you understand all other people as the energy. Coming
It's
from
actually love. And it's love not as we experience it here on earth. It's love as we experience it in the infinite. It's love as they talk about in the near death or life after death experience. It's love that is not of emotion.
And the knowing of that is the healing, would you say? It's just the experience of it becomes the healing, regardless of what that malady or illness that we have told ourselves we have is, right?
Well, then we're only touching the beginning of the healing with limitation, because we are thinking of healing as fixing something. Limited range of motion, suddenly you have full range of motion. Tumor that appears, disappears. Someone can walk or see or hear or speak again. Fixing something is what we think of as healing. But what if healing was more? What if healing isn't just bringing something back to where it was as optimally as a child? What if healing is really our evolution, moving beyond just what's in the physical? Humanity is standing on the precipice of the next level of human evolution. I believe that's why the reconnective healing frequencies of energy, light, and information have allowed, I used to say, allowed themselves to presence here, allowed how humanity is allowing ourselves cognizant recognition of the infinite, because in that we recognize ourselves as the energy, light, and information God, love, and the universe experiences itself through us. We are evolving. The universe is evolving.
Yeah.
It's healing. We have to let go of the idea of healing as fixing. It's so much more.
Yeah.
It includes fixing. It includes all of these corrections, all of these changes, all of the person who couldn't move an arm and suddenly they can, couldn't see and suddenly they can, but it takes us so much further. We tend to stop at the symptoms. When we present at your phenomenal event, we're going to share how to tune in, how to recognize these vibrations, how to explore with the experience. And it will, this knowingness, allow for our own healing to manifest. And as we are receiving, everyone in the field is receiving, as Nassim Harriman, for example, will explain, what goes on in one proton affects every other proton in the universe. Our curiosity and drive for experience, the universe is dependent upon that for its expansion. Are we willing to accept that the universe, that we play such a pivotal role, that the universe is depending upon us to continue to explore in our own evolution so that it may continue to evolve, so that we all return from the multiple finites of the experience of the infinite back to the infinite? There's a touch to this, which we'll share with people. Harrison, you willing to play for half a sec?
Yeah, sure.
Good. Hold your hand up, open your fingers. One hand, good. Okay. Now hold them wide open. You keep your hands still. What I'm going to do is allow myself to receive. I'm not sending, but I'm watching your fingers. Are your fingers still? Watch them. Or do you see that movement?
I feel it. And there's not only the fingers, but it's also the palm has warmth.
Right.
And yeah, and the fingers have, different levels of tension in them, sort of.
Okay, now bring your hand back towards you a little bit so we can see it in the screen. Now I'm going to bring a different hand in and I'm going to start to pull away. Now, as I pull away, you would think
I feel it.
sensation would weaken, but it's not, is it?
I feel what's coming out. I feel your energy pulling that. Yes, I definitely feel that. Does it weaken? I think the intensity is sort of the same, but it doesn't.
Okay, watch your fingers, hold them wide, and you look directly, not in the camera, but at your hand itself.
Okay. Well, that's okay. Yeah. So
Tell
in
me,
the hand itself, yes, I can see the movement. In the
you
camera,
see the movement. So are
yes.
you moving your fingers or are they moving them themselves or for some other
Well,
reason?
it's not anything I'm consciously doing. I'm not,
Right. Let
I'm
your
not
hand,
finger move or yeah.
so let your hand down. Where are you physically in the country?
Florida, South
Okay.
Florida.
And I am right now about an hour outside of Chicago. What in the world can I be doing by just allowing myself to feel that's having a response with you if there was a separation? We'll share some of that in the presentation at your event. We're going to give everyone an opportunity to feel, explore, to tune in to this vibration that already is, because the vibration is before our awareness of it shows up.
Well, this has been awesome. So do you want to kind of tell people how to get in touch with you?
The easiest way is through the website, which is the same as the title of the book. The book is called The Reconnection. Heal Others, Heal Yourself. The website is thereconnection.com. You have to use the word the, thereconnection.com. And there's a Reconnective Life community you can join to come to some of our weekly and monthly events. There's even reconnective yoga on Saturdays that you can join with us. And we have sometimes weekend and monthly retreats, all sorts of fun things to play. Take a look at the portal and experience this online. The first hour is free, and then you can decide whether you want it. The first month of the Reconnective Life community is free if you want to experience that with us. And or you can probably go to Amazon and get the book, The Reconnection, Heal Others, Heal Yourself.
We've been with Dr. Eric Pearl, The Reconnection, and the website is thereconnection.com. I've been to Eric's events. They're amazing and they're wonderful. So if you ever get a chance to see him in your city, if we're doing live events again, if you ever get a chance to see him, please go. You'll be blown out of the water. Thank you for coming. Pleasure to have you. You guys had a treat.
Thank you, Harrison, and everyone.